The Valley's News Channel. This is Channel 5 News at 5.
The Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office is investigating a body discovered in a sugarcane field. Workers found the decomposing remains today.
That field is south of Mission. Channel 5's Michael Scott is in our studio with the latest on this case. Michael?
Well, the Sheriff's Office says workers came across the body this morning around 9 a.m. and the field is just west of Conway on Military Road. Authorities say a farm worker found the man's body while operating a combine harvester. We're told the body was badly decomposed. Now, the Sheriff's Office tells us the man could possibly be an illegal crosser. The area is near a mile away from the border. Right now, investigators are still looking into this incident. The body was sent in for an autopsy. Live in the studio, Michael Scott, Channel 5 News at 5.
House Republicans are declaring President Obama's executive action on immigration null and void. 219 voted to strike it down. 197 voted to keep it in place.
The legislation would undo the president's orders to extend work permits and spare more than 4 million illegal immigrants in this country from deportation. Sources say a bill stands no chance in the Senate and faces a veto threat from the president.
The bigger fight may lie ahead. Immigration hardliners in Congress may use a must-pass spending bill to block Obama's actions. That could lead to another government shutdown. New details on E-Verify we first told you about yesterday on Channel 5 News at 5.
Yeah, that's a federal system the governor says state agencies and contractors must use to ensure employees are legal workers. Our Leslie Aguilar talked to local business stakeholders today. She's live in our newsroom with more.
Well, right now, many small local businesses say they hadn't heard of the new order from the governor yet, but it's already in effect and it applies to any business or agency that has a contract with the state. Now, this is a look at that federal system. It's free online. Businesses just have to register on the site, then they can enter identification numbers of prospective employees. The site will verify if a person is able to work legally in the United States. Some local small business people we spoke with already use the site or something similar, but the McAllen Chamber of Commerce says it could turn out to be a burden for many small subcontractors.
And so I think it's a slippery slope. Once we start down this path and once people start seeing that they can use business to enforce immigration policy, I think it's another burden that makes it harder for businesses to be successful.
We also spoke with a small business that approves of the governor's executive order. I'm working on putting that part of the story together for the news at 6 o'clock. Until then, live in the newsroom, Leslie Aguilar, Channel 5 News at 5.
New details in the arrest of a former high-ranking commander in the Gulf Cartel. We first told you about his arrest yesterday on Channel 5 News at 5.
Orlando Roberto Rodriguez Reyes was arrested the day before Thanksgiving in Starr County. Officials say Rodriguez admitted to crossing the river from Mexico into an area near Rio Grande City. DPS and Border Patrol agents caught and arrested him. They also found just over $180,000 in a hidden compartment inside his home.
Rodriguez said the cash was drug money paid to him by the Gulf Cartel. He also told authorities he was a hitman for the organization. Federal prosecutors are pursuing money laundering conspiracy charges. The U.S. military may become more involved in fighting Mexican drug cartels. Today, the U.S. House passed a budget bill that calls for increased surveillance by air and sea. The military will also use intelligence reconnaissance resources to plot trafficking networks in Mexico, Central America, and the rest of the Western Hemisphere. The effort is aimed at reducing the threat from transnational criminal organizations.
We actually saw sunshine in the valley today. The clouds thinning out across pretty much the entire area, giving us at least partly sunny skies, and that helped warm the temperatures up into the upper 70s and low 80s. We're all back in the 70s now, but look at the dew point. It's 65, so it will not get any cooler than the dew point tonight, so your lows will be in the mid to upper 60s. Light east southeasterly wind. Fog could be an issue late tonight and again tomorrow morning. We'll check on that. Update your First Warn 5 forecast for the upcoming weekend in a few minutes.
A sister is mourning the death of her 19-year-old brother. Jeremy Sepulveda died in a car wreck this morning. The 19-year-old was heading north on Sharp Road when he veered off the road and rolled his truck several times and then hit a metal gate. This is in Edinburgh. The Department of Public Safety says Sepulveda was thrown from the truck.
He was a good person, good loving father who was funny, joking around with us.
State troopers are still investigating the wreck.
The McAllen police officer who was shot earlier this week is back at work. Officer Jesus Mora is on desk duty. The patrolman was shot in the shoulder Monday morning as he was checking out a suspicious vehicle at the intersection of McCall and Orangewood. Someone inside the vehicle opened the door and shot him. Authorities are looking for a dark-colored older model minivan, possibly faded blue or black. They expect to release a composite of that van soon, but anyone with information is asked to contact McAllen Crime Stoppers at 687-8477.
A Brownsville man is worried he's going to have to spend hundreds of dollars to fix his fence from a flooded yard. He called Channel 5 after living with the standing water for 2 weeks. Turns out the problem is from 2 separate leaks in the neighborhood.
Waste of water, and it's not right for the yards.
A spokesperson with the Brownsville Public Utility Board tells us the problem was not in their pipes. Turns out the water was coming from a water line break caused by a contractor and a separate irrigation system that had a water leak.
Texas game wardens are concerned with the amount of illegal fishing lines they have seized. In just 2 days, wardens found an illegal long line more than 37,000 feet long in the Gulf off the Texas coast. They also found 8,000 feet of gill net. Now, gill nets are illegal in Texas. The long line is heavily regulated because it traps hundreds of fish that aren't supposed to be caught. 43 large bull sharks, 7 bull reds, and 1 large stingray were caught in the long line. Captain James Dunk says every fish illegally caught impacts our Gulf waters.
Every little critter plays a role in the ecosystem. You take one thing out, it affects something else. So it's important that we sustain everything that we have.
Game wardens worked for hours to free any live fish and took the long line out of the water. Both the gill net and long lines are believed to have been set by commercial fishermen from Mexico in Texas waters just a few miles off Boca Chica Beach. And get the latest breaking news, weather, and sports on our KRGV apps. Any iPhone and Android user can download it.
And look for Second Take at all of our headlines. Don't forget, you can either check them out on our app or online at krgv.com.
I'm certain that my life is in danger.
A terroristic group is threatening to kill an American hostage. This time it is not ISIS. In 2 minutes, who is making the threat?
Also, another grand jury decision sparks more protests. The latest happened yesterday in New York. What activists are calling for. Channel 5 News at 5. We'll be right back.
Breaking news. Breaking stories. This is Channel 5 News with Oscar Adame, Melissa Correa, and First Warn 5 Weather with Chief Meteorologist Tim Smith. This is Channel 5 News at 5.
you the power to pay less.
Terrorists have released another video showing an American hostage pleading for his life. Luke Summers, a 33-year-old photojournalist and interpreter, is being held by al-Qaeda's affiliate in Yemen. He was abducted 14 months ago in the capital of Sinai. In the new video, the leader of an al-Qaeda affiliate says Summers will meet what he called his inevitable fate unless President Obama meets the group's unspecified demands in 3 days.
I'm looking for any help that can get me out of this situation. I'm certain that my life is in danger.
Summers was a focus of a rescue attempt last week by U.S. Special Forces. At least 7 militants were killed in a shootout. U.S. forces grabbed 8 hostages being held in a cave and flew them to safety. It was only later that the U.S. learned that Summers had been removed from the cave complex 2 days earlier.
Protesters upset over police-related killings in Ferguson, Cleveland, and New York are now joining forces to push for change. Civil rights groups are organizing a national march next week in Washington, D.C. It's in protest of grand jury decisions that failed to indict white police officers involved in the killings of Michael Brown and Eric Garner. Garner died in July. An NYPD police officer put Garner in a chokehold just before he died. Police were trying to stop him from selling single cigarettes on the streets, they say.
We want the Justice Department and the federal government to deal with the fact that the grand jury systems on a state level are broken.
Garner's mother visited a memorial today in the spot where her son was taken down by police. The Justice Department also completed a civil rights review of the Cleveland Police Department. It follows the deadly shooting of a 12-year-old boy who had a fake gun with him. That review found excessive force is systemic among police officers.
Hey, we saw some sunshine in the valley today, still seeing some out there, and it looks like the next couple of days the clouds are going to sneak back in. When we come back, we'll update the First Warn 5 forecast for San Ysidro, Ed Count, Rancho Viejo, and the rest of the valley next.
And now, First Warn 5 weather with Chief Meteorologist Tim Smith.
Hey, folks, some breaks in the clouds today gave us a chance to see really nice sunshine, blue skies, and really a cool picture of the sky from Elenda Rocha Hernandez. A cool sky today. Some wispy cirrus clouds back over here. Fair weather cumulus clouds in the foreground. The sun off in the background. Nice picture. Thanks to Elenda for sending that to us on our KRGV Weather Facebook page. Now, radar has gone quiet today. The only thing we're seeing, maybe some sugarcane burns. That's really just about it. If we look at WeatherBug outside right now, it's in the western part of the valley. Starr County, Lone Star National Bank, Rio Grande City. 5 o'clock rush is on. 74 degrees. Their winds light out of the northwest. Very light. It says 2, and that's about right. Yeah, the flag not moving much at all. Let's jump back to the maps. Let's see what's going on temperature-wise across the area. These are the currents. 78 officially in the Starr County area, 78 Raymondville and Harlingen, 77 in Brownsville right now, 76 to 79 degrees across Hidalgo County. Tonight, not as cool as the last couple of nights, mid-60s for the most part. We showed you earlier the dew point right now in the Mid-Valley is about 65, so that's as cool as it can get, barring a change in air mass, and there's no fronts coming, so the air mass won't change. If anything, it would be warmer than this as the southeasterly wind stays with us. Tomorrow, back up around 80 across much of the area, especially the western half of the valley, and into the mid to upper 70s in the eastern half. So it looks like a very mild day, and I think tomorrow, like today, there's a lot of clouds, maybe patchy fog early. Afternoon, maybe a little bit of sunshine. Bigger picture shows scattered stuff near here, but mostly offshore. Shows a big batch of moisture moving into north and west Texas. That's a little low pressure area that's up there that you don't see. It lives out quickly. A cool front on the map, stationary front really, is stalled right along the Red River. It's not going to get any closer to us. It's going to fall apart as it moves away. So we wait for the next front. And this one raises into South Texas by Saturday. So tomorrow, like today, mix of clouds and sun, heavier on the clouds in the morning, heavier on the sun in the afternoon. Saturday, this front stalls right on top of us and gives us clouds and maybe a sprinkle or two. Temperatures hold steady, highs still in the upper 70s, low 80s. And lows drop back into the 60s again. And then on Sunday, the front tries to press on down to the south, somewhat successfully, bringing slightly cooler temperatures for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but also bringing a lot of clouds and probably some light rain and drizzle for the early part of next week. Across the state right now, you remember there was a front sitting right through here. That's why it's cooler in Amarillo, 49. Everybody else warmer than that. If you got travel plans tomorrow, well, let's take a look. You start the day about 8 a.m. in the 60s in the southern part of the state, 40s in the Panhandle. By afternoon, they recover up to close to 60, 70 in Midland, 72 San Antonio. For us tonight then, patchy fog again, clouds and maybe a stray shower, something really light. Then tomorrow we're back up to 80, mostly cloudy, could be a sprinkle in a couple of spots. 80, 80, and then 76 on Sunday. That's the transition day because that's when the front just kind of hangs out here, then maybe settles down to the south for early next week. And when that happens, temperatures go down a little bit more, about 10 degrees difference from tomorrow to what we're going to be the middle part of next week with clouds dominating all the way through. That's your updated First Warn 5 forecast.
It is Gear Up Take 2. Tonight we'll meet some former students who were back in the classroom teaching Gear Up students the ABCs of math and science.
But there's a great deal of hope here because of what the sisters have been able to do.
I'm going to tell you more on what Bishop Flores is talking about. 3 nuns helped clean up streets in a Colonia neighborhood. They're receiving a big thank you for their work. It's a story you'll hear later on Channel 5 News at 5. We have introduced you to Gear Up students in Rio Grande City who are succeeding in an academic youth development program.
Today, we're going to meet the teachers who are also former Gear Up students. Here's Leti Garza.
I'm going to put the phenolphthalein right here.
Naleli Basan is a chemistry teacher here at Rio Grande City High School. She's one tough teacher who wants to make sure her students understand the basics before moving on to college. Basan, a former Gear Up student, tells us Gear Up made her realize her dream.
Sir.
She always believed that she would go into law enforcement, but after attending a number of HESTEC events with Gear Up, this is what she is today.
Because I was exposed to all of these science aspects from Gear Up, I actually did decide to change my career path. I was exposed to all of those colleges and HESTEC and all the engineering camps that I acquired, so that helped me find the love of science, which I had no idea I was capable of even doing that.
And Joanna Gonzalez, also a former Gear Up student, is now a math teacher at Rio Grande City High.
In what 2 weeks?
She says all her experiences in the Gear Up program also helped make up her mind about going to the math field.
It's increments.
She believes her students are headed in the same direction. She also attributes their future success to the Academic Youth Development Program, or AYD.
I saw the students come in as 8th graders into 9th grade and saw that change over the first 4 weeks of summer. Then again this last year when they participated in not only geometry and chemistry activities, but also got an opportunity to attend Meditech, which is a medical camp, and also I got to prepare some of the students in TSI, which is a test they need to take when they enter college. I feel that my experience as a former Gear Up student and now an AYD teacher, it helps the students because they can relate to me.
It wasn't that long ago when both Ms. Basan and Ms. Gonzalez were sitting in this classroom. Now they're giving back and helping these budding scientists test the waters to see what they will become in the not-too-distant future. I'm Leti Garza with Gear Up at Rio Grande City High School.
Hey, take a look. At least some sunshine across the valley today. Nice change of pace, and we should see a little bit again tomorrow. That's the view from Lone Star National Bank and Farr. Weekend, though, probably more clouds. We'll check on that when we get there.
785-99-0005.
3 Catholic nuns who came to help rebuild a Valley Colonia 11 years ago are finally being recognized for the work they did.
Yeah, their work has transformed the lives of many who live there. Here's Rick Diaz in Con Mi Gente.
The name is Pueblo de Palmas, a small colonia north of Peñitas by Highway 107. And today they've come to honor the 3 nuns who changed the lives of everyone who lives here. It's the Lumen Christi Latin for Light of Christ Award, and it's a packed church.
Today we come with you to give thanks to God for 3 holy women who have walked with you.
Father Jack Wall is president of Catholic Extension, a national group based out of Chicago.
To present to you the highest honor given to a minister in the Catholic Church in the United States.
The 3 nuns are Sister Carolyn Kossup, Sister Emily Jackson, and Sister Fatima Santiago. They established Proyecto Desarrollo Humano, the Project for Human Development. And even though most residents live at or below the poverty level, the colonia now has paved streets, solar street lighting. They provide leadership training. They hold English classes. There's a women's wellness program and even pre-kindergarten classrooms.
For all that you are, for all that you do, we also ask that you might accept this check of $25,000 to strengthen the work.
$25,000. And there is a second $25,000 check to the Diocese of Brownsville for nominating the nuns. Bishop Daniel Flores.
It's my honor to donate this $25,000 to the work of the sisters.
A total of $50,000, which the sisters quickly say they will share with the local parish.
They're wonderful people. They're full of faith and love, and they've welcomed us with open arms.
But there's great deal of hope here because of what the sisters have been able to do.
An affirmation of what we are trying to do here to as the bishop said, share Christ's light with the others.
They're just such a wonderful example of all that we want to honor in the church.
And they have a deep faith, and they really want to improve themselves. So we are just a little helping hand.
From day one, the sisters moved in and live in the colonia itself. For Channel 5 News, I'm Rick Diaz, con mi gente.
Looks like your clouds are going to move back in tonight into tomorrow and probably dominate the weather Friday, and mainly cloudy again on Saturday with an isolated shower, not outdoor plan ruining kind of shower, just a brief thing. And then Sunday the clouds kind of take over, and they're with us pretty much all of next week with isolated showers into next week, with temperatures staying near 70 for highs, upper 50s for lows. But tomorrow mainly cloudy and a high of 80 degrees. An update for you at 6 o'clock.
Only stray showers on Saturday. Tim, Steve Solis, and myself going to be out covering the McAllen Lighted Christmas Parade live on Channel 5 News.
That will be fun.
Yeah, coverage starts at 6. Make sure you tune in then.
Be there if you can.
Yeah, be back here in 30 minutes, right?
Have yourself a great evening. Bye-bye.